Attention! I am your captain, Captain Howl. The mission, classic tank job. Please take all orders from Commander Carter Hudden. Thank you.
Alright, hopefully we don't run into that guy so often during the regular season. So let's get into it. It's finally finalized. I was obviously waiting on a little bit of news that I'm going to have to discuss at length to finalize the lineups. I don't even know the last time I wore a hat. So there's that. So obviously, this is the lineup going into the season starting Thursday against Columbus in Columbus. It's going to be crazy. So obviously Barrett Hayden is not on this board, and he was sent down to Tucson yesterday and actually played in the Tucson Roadrunners preseason game yesterday. And they won. Roadrunners doing well. They won both their preseason games. I mentioned last video how stacked they are. I didn't even mention that Jens Yannick Hayden now and Yanis Moser, who was their second round draft pick in the draft just recently. So add to that the Michelli, who scored yesterday in his preseason game, McCartney, and you have goaltenders in Kozhanaj and Prosvetov. You know, we all thought Kozhanaj was going to be the backup to Carter Hudden, tank commander Carter Hudden. But Vejmelka, who had an amazing camp, turned heads, won the job. A free agent signing in May, who's a little bit older than Kozhanaj. Kozhanaj is still a prospect, so they're, treating him like they are with Barrett Hayden. So, just throw him in there, see how he does. It's better to tarnish, a offhand free agent signing, an older goalie who hasn't really put his foot into the NHL yet. It's better to run him down than an exciting goalie prospect in Kozhanaj. Going back to Barrett Hayden, it's obviously disappointing. I don't think you'll never see him in a Coyotes uniform this season. I think he will get called up. Looking at the center depth, it's abysmal. It's really bad. So the center depth and the goaltending is going to be the rough spots for Coyotes fans and the Coyotes team going into this season. Hopefully, Barrett Hayden didn't have a great regular season with the Coyotes last season. He played about 10 or 11 games, maybe 15, before Tocchet had enough, threw him on the fourth line, and then he got sent down to Tucson. Took him a while to get going. Then he gets injured, and then he has a good last couple games with Tucson. And then in camp, he makes it to the final cut. But I want Hayden to lead the Roadrunners. They have a strong team, no excuses. They have a tremendous skill on the forward grouping, some good defense, strong goaltending. Just lead that team, please. I want to see like a point per game production. And, Garland, Bunting, they serve their time on the Roadrunner, so it's not all doom and gloom. There is still hope for Hayden. It's just not going to be this season, and obviously it's a tank job. We hope that the team is competitive and plays with a lot of pace this upcoming season starting Thursday. But, if it's going to be one of those years where your goal is to get a top 5 draft pick, maybe hold the brakes on Hayden, and he'll come in next year when you get like maybe Gunther, McCartney, Michelli in the lineup, and surround Hayden with skill instead of these types of players. So we'll get into it. The first line, going to be the most familiar line, most likely. Krause on left wing, Schmaltz and Keller. We knew the short leash line was amazing. They single-handedly won that season series against St. Louis, and that was Garland, Schmaltz, and Keller. I hated that nickname, the short leash line, and classic Tocchet. Whenever they made like one mistake, and Tocchet would just separate them. Hopefully, Schmaltz and Keller could finally consistently play together for a whole season. I mean, can we please see that? Tocchet loved to separate Keller onto whatever lines. I remember Keller played with Pitlick last season. And, I just want to see our top players get top line minutes. Who cares about defense? It's your first line. Just let them go out and score, please. Second line, I put Larson and Kessel together because they had an amazing season last year with Larson, Kessel, and Dryden Hunt. So hopefully Yaskin is an upgrade to Dryden Hunt. I believe so. Yaskin scored back-to-back 30 goals in the KHL the past 2 seasons. He describes his play as evolving because he's learning to go to the front of the net, stick on the ice, getting those dirty goals. And I think with this line, Kessel's holding on to the puck the whole time. Kessel is the type of player to hold on to the puck, enter the zone himself with possession. Larson will be there as a defensive centerman in case Kessel makes a mistake. We'll also go into dirty areas of the ice like the boards and the corners. Same with Yaskin, puck retrieval, big body, goes to the front of the net, let Kessel do his thing. So I like that line. Dzingel, Boyd, and Erickson. I mean, this third line center position is tough. Travis Boyd basically couldn't crack the Leafs lineup. No one really wanted him. He was a free agent picking this offseason. He's not, he tries hard, he battles, but he's not a top nine guy. He struggles consistently, but there's really no one else. I'm not going to put Beagle in third line center. So you got Travis Boyd, but Louis Erickson, the memer, like I said, Dzingel. Dzingel is a more of a top six guy, speedy guy, straight line guy, so maybe he's not fit for the bottom six, but I really don't know who to bring down. Maybe you put Dzingel, Larson, and Kessel and bring Yaskin down, but Yaskin was brought in to score and who's a big body, will go to the front of the net, like I said, so I like him in the top six. Maybe too much offensive power if you do Dzingel, Larson, and Kessel. You basically only have Larson, who's competent defensively. So we'll stick with Dzingel, Boyd, and Erickson. Erickson, I don't see him as a fourth line guy. I feel like he could still score, just like in the preseason, he scored 3 goals. Put pucks on net, see what happens. He's looking to reestablish himself in the NHL. Same with Andrew Ladd, Jay Beagle, and Antoine Roussel. So the fourth line, Beagle, Ladd, and Fisher. I expect the fourth line to be changing almost nightly. If they need a fighter, if they're facing a scrappy team, you got Liam O'Brien and Anton Roussel waiting in the press box to fight, change some momentum, things like that. I obviously don't like Ladd at the fourth line, but where are you going to put him? For me, he hasn't proven himself to be a top six guy at all. And on the third line, I'd rather Erickson than Ladd. I think Erickson's got a bit more years left in the NHL, whereas Ladd, it's his last stop, unfortunately, and it's going to be tough for him to reestablish himself. I think Erickson's got a better chance to prove himself. It was a rough go of it in Vancouver. His first game as a Canuck, he scores on his own net. He really never really moved past that moment, and he became the memer after that. The defense, I loving this defense. Chikrin and Strawman as your first pairing, Timmins and Gostisbehere, and then Soderstrom and Labushkin. Soderstrom has made the roster. I'm hesitant to say that, but I think it's due to the fact that Capobianco is injured. Also want to mention Galchenyuk is injured. That's why they're in red. They're week to week, so Galchenyuk will not be in the lineup to start the season. So yeah, I'm liking Soderstrom and Labushkin. Soderstrom, I think, is more ready for his position than Hayden. It's easier as a defenseman to get NHL minutes, as long as you're responsible on your own end. He's already, produced when he's made his call-ups on the Coyotes last season. He had a strong preseason. It's easier for him than for Hayden, who's a top six center who has to win face-offs, who's facing steep competition, whereas Soderstrom could be sheltered a little bit. Labushkin, I have Provolnev here, who is also another Russian free agent. I feel Provolnev and Labushkin are both like big Russian hitters, stay-at-home defensemen, so I think they will swap out a bit nightly or weekly, see whoever, fits a lineup more. I like Labushkin, so I put him there, and I scratched Provolnev. Maybe you'll get an all-Russian third pairing defense group where you have Provolnev and Labushkin. I don't think Soderstrom's playing 82 games, to be honest. So if Soderstrom wants to be sheltered, if they're taking their time with Victor, then they can throw in Provonev and have a Russian pairing who both speak Russian and who are both big bodies. Yeah, that because the reason I think that is if you're looking at the penalty killing unit, you really don't have much defensive defenseman there. I mean, the first penalty kill pairing Chikrin and Strawman is great. Chikrin is underrated defensively. He's a great defenseman. Trust him on the penalty kill. Strawman's a defensive defenseman. He's going to act like the Goligoski for Chikrin, a veteran guy who's been in the league for a really long time. So that's a good Goligoski replacement. And then the PK too. I obviously want Labushkin there, but I really don't know who to pair him with. If Provolnev's in the lineup, then Provolnev and Labushkin makes sense. I didn't want to put Gostisbehere. I don't think he's good defensively. I haven't watched Timmins play, so I'm just hoping he's a good defenseman because, he's touted as a good, all well-rounded defenseman. So maybe and hopefully he can handle PK2 unit duties. And then power play, you have Yaskin, Schmaltz, and Keller. I was going to put Kraus. Maybe Kraus makes sense since I put them as a first line together. But you know how teams shake things up on the power play. So Yaskin will go to the front of the net. You have Schmaltz and Keller. Maybe Keller as a bumper. Then you have Schmaltz and Kessel on your half boards for the quick shot. And then Chikrin as your power play quarterback who surpassed Ekman Larson last season. And then power play number 2. Again, I have no idea who's going to center power play number 2. It's not going to be Larson. He's more of a PK defensive guy. So hopefully, Boyd is up to task, and you got Kraus and Dzingel on your wings. Obviously, when Galchenyuk is healthy, he will be on power play unit number 2. And he is sort of a centerman. So maybe when Galchenyuk is healthy, he is a centerman for the second power play unit. I think that makes sense. And then Timmins and Gostisbehere as power play unit 2 defensemen, going with 2D there. I like Gostisbehere as a power play 2 quarterback. We haven't had a power play 2 quarterback in a while because, OEL kind of stunk as power play number 1 quarterback. And then Chikrin surpassed him. So it was Chikrin as PP1 last season and OEL PP2 last season. But, OEL wasn't great. So that second power play unit last season was pretty poor. It's good that we have Gostisbehere and Chikrin as your quarterbacks for the power play going into this season. And they're both good offensively. And maybe Timmins could round that out with some defensive play and also produce offensively. Maybe you'll see Soderstrom as power play unit number 2. Soderstrom and Gostisbehere. We'll see. I'm excited for Soderstrom to get some regular reps in. I hope he's not a night in, night out guy. I hope he consistently plays. And then, maybe if it's a tough competitive team, you go with 2 big bodies in Provonev and Labushkin and sort of shelter Soderstrom. Yeah, and that's about it. Hutton, your tank commander, and the veg as the backup. We'll see how they do. I'm not confident in them at all. I'm probably more confident in Veg than Carter Hutton. And my expectations for this season, I want to see goals. I want to see them score a lot. I like it when the Coyotes score. I'm sure a lot of you like it when Coyotes score. I'm looking for some good pace, a good offensive tempo game. I don't want them to turtle. I absolutely want that out of the game. But I'm honestly self-aware enough to know that this lineup will get pinned into their own zone a lot due to their talent level and skill level in this lineup. But I hope they've reduced the amount of times they're pinned in their own zone. If they have a lead in the third period, please go out and extend it. Make that your primary goal. And don't say, hey, we got to protect the lead. Let's turtle, blow the lead, and make everyone miserable. I want to see that type of stuff that Rick Tocchet instilled in the team. I want that written away. I want players to have fun. I want Schmaltz and Keller to smile a lot. I want them to score and produce. I want them to get over 55 points easy. I want Kessel to have fun and play the way he did last season, even though he was online with, players of not his caliber. And then I hope he gets traded out for a first round pick. I hope Eriksson gets his NHL resume beefed up a bit and finds a new home after this season, not with the Coyotes, but I hope his NHL career doesn't end with the Coyotes. I'm hoping for big seasons out of Krause and Fisher. I want Krause to solidify himself as a top six for the Coyotes. I think this is his last shot at it. If he has a poor season like he did last season, I think he's out of here. Same with Fisher, but Fisher, there's less. You know, he's demoted to just a fourth line defensive forward who's on the PK and crashes the net. Krause has a higher pedigree and more to prove. Fisher's already calmed down that there's not much left to surprise you out of Christian Fisher. I just hope that he produces a little bit to stay on the team. But he's already down in the lineups and the depth chart. And I don't want to see Krause go the same way as Christian Fisher. And this is a pivotal season for Lawson Krause. Yaskin, 15 goals, I hope. Just crash the net. Don't be a bust out of the KHL. They signed him for 2 years for some big money. It wasn't entry level. So hopefully he produces. Dezingle, I want to see some speed, chip in, maybe, put that second power play unit on his shoulders and produce. I don't want to see him be good for a game or two and then ghost for a stretch of games. We have a lot of players who already do that. And the defensive lineup I like. I hope they don't disappoint me. I'm really excited for this defensive lineup. I think it's really underrated in the league. And I hope they produce. I hope we get way more scoring from the blue line, and it's more of a threat offensively than in previous years under Tocchet. For goalies, I have no expectations. Whatever happens, happens. So that's it. It's the season. It's hockey. I love watching hockey. I love watching them score, and we're going to get 82 games of that. And it's going to be a long season with a lot of ups and downs. Just try to have fun. Temper your expectations, and maybe use this channel for some, funny, commentary and comedic value during this rough season. It was one of the most pivotal off seasons, I think, in franchise history, and we'll see what comes out of it. Hopefully it's good. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word, and thank you for your support.